Hello and welcome to I Love Our Earth's 45-minute full body stretch and strengthening routine. This is the second session of 5, and in this session we will be going over the first portion of the routine, which is the lower body stretch. Hopefully you have your water bottle so you can stay hydrated, and hopefully you've done some cardio exercise before starting this video. I went on a hike this morning. It was wonderful. If you haven't, take a second to do some jumping jacks. Alright, great job, guys. Let's begin. So the first thing you're going to do is have your feet a little more than hip width apart and reach your right arm up and stretch over. This will stretch the entire right side of your body, and we're going to hold this pose for 2 breaths. Then we do the same thing on the other side, stretching out the entire left side of your body, and we're going to hold this pose for 2 breaths as well. The next thing you're going to do is make C's with your hands and put them just above your knees and sink into this pose. It should stretch out your thighs and also your shoulders a little bit, and hold this pose for 2 breaths. Then twist your left shoulder inwards, stretching out your shoulder and your thighs, and kind of push against your legs. Same thing on the other side. And hold this for 2 breaths as well. Then we're just going to do a nice forward fold here. This is pretty basic. Everybody knows this stretch. Stretches out the backs of your legs. And we're going to hold this one for 2 breaths before switching over to the left side. And hold this for 2 breaths as well. And switch over to the right side. And hold this pose for 2 breaths. Alright, now we're going to do a sort of sideways lunge towards the left side of our body. Make sure your right heel is on the ground and your right toe is pointing upwards. This stretches the underside of your right leg. And hold this pose for 2 breaths. Then we're just going to rotate around into a forward lunge position. Put your hands just above your knees. Make sure your torso is vertical. Also make sure that your front leg is no more than a 90-degree angle. You want to try to keep your knee directly above your heel. Alright, now you're going to bring your right leg back up and fold over your left leg. Try not to have too much tension back there and just stretch out the back of your left leg. I'm going to hold this pose for 2 breaths. And you're just going to rotate towards the front. Make sure your right foot is perpendicular to your left. And just kind of lean over so you can stretch the inside of your left leg. I'm going to hold that for 2 breaths. And then rotate back over to the same folding position over your left leg. Hold this for 2 breaths. See if you can go a little bit further down than you did last time. Alright, so now we're going to go into a lunge position. Put your right knee on the ground, take your left arm and bring it back around and grab your right foot. So that's left arm to right foot. This is a really difficult pose. If you're in pain, you're not the only one, I promise. Just do the best you can and hold this pose for 3 breaths because it's pretty intense. Alright, so now you're going to take your right leg and tuck it under your left and sit on your butt with your left leg on top of your right. Take your right arm and put it on your left knee. Take a deep breath in, and when you breathe out, turn towards the front. Your back might crack, which is pretty nice. This stretches kind of your butt and your thigh. And then take 2 breaths in this full twisted position. Alright, now you shouldn't even have to move your feet. You can just go bloop and back into the forward fold position. Try not to keep your knees too tense. You're going to hold this for 2 breaths before Going to the other side. Yay! We're doing the same sideways lunge on this side. Make sure your left heel's on the ground and your left toes pointed up. Gonna hold this pose for 2 breaths. And then rotate into a forward lunge. Have your hands just above your knees. Make sure your knee is at a right angle and your torso is upright. And we're going to hold this for 2 breaths. Now you're going to bring your left leg up and fold forward over your right leg. Make sure there's not too much tension in your left. And hold this pose for 2 breaths before you rotate back towards the front. Now your left leg is the one that's perpendicular to your right. Make sure your left leg is bent and your right leg is straight so you can stretch out the inside of your right leg. Hold this for 2 breaths. Then go back over to the forward fold over your right leg and hold this for 2 breaths as well. Now we're going to do the same lunge. Put your left knee on the ground, take your right arm and bring it back over to grab your left foot. We're going to hold this for 3 breaths again. And now we can do the sit, twist, put your left arm on your right leg. Take a deep breath in, and when you breathe out, twist fully behind you. You should be stretching out your butt and your back. Take another 2 breaths in this position. And now we're just going to rotate back to the front so you can see me. Yay! Alright, so now we're going to do the butterfly. Again, standard. I'm sure you've all seen this one. Use your elbows to push your knees down and then lean forward as far as you can. You're going to be stretching out the insides of your legs, and you should hold this position for 3 breaths. So the next thing that we're going to do is going to extend our left leg and tuck our right heel so that it's by our left knee. Make sure your left leg isn't too tense. Lean over your left leg and take the first breath like this. If you can, grab your left toe and pull it towards you, and take the second breath in that position, and then fold forward as far as you can to where it's a little painful, and take 2 more breaths in that position. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So make sure your right leg isn't too tense, and fold over to where it's slightly uncomfortable. Take your first breath in this position, grab your toe, take your second breath in this position, and then go as far as you can and take 2 more breaths where it's slightly painful, or maybe a little more than slightly. Okay, so now we're going to do a split, and what we're going to do is we're going to wiggle out a little bit before we stretch. So this is kind of awkward because it looks like you're having sex, but bear with me. You are going to roll your knees backward and your hips forward. So yes, you are pelvic thrusting, but it does stretch out the inside of your legs. Okay. So now you're going to fold forward to where it's slightly uncomfortable, and imagine a straight line going from your tailbone out through the top of your head. When you breathe in, you're going to stretch straight forward along that line, and when you breathe out, you're going to lower down towards the ground. So do that twice, and then take a 3rd breath in this position. Then do 1 more where you stretch straight out along that line, and then lower down on the breath out, and then take 2 more full breaths in this position, as far down as you can go. It should be painful. Next, you're going to take your left arm and put it down, and your right arm up and over the top of your head, so you're stretching out the right side of your body and also your left leg. And you're going to hold this pose for 3 breaths. before switching over to the other side. So your right arm is on the ground and your left arm is over the top, stretching out the back of your right leg and your entire left side. You're going to hold this pose for 3 breaths as well. Oh, that's good. Let's shake our legs out a little bit. That's very nice. Okay, now we're going to fold forward as far as we can in a pike position and hold this for 3 breaths. See if you can really challenge yourself with this one. Obviously, you'll be stretching out the backs of your legs. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your right ankle and put it on your left knee and then pull your leg towards you as far as you can go. It should stretch out your right thigh. On your first breath, wiggle your ankle in one direction, and on your second breath, wiggle your ankle in the other direction. You're going to do the same thing on the other side with your left ankle to your right knee. On the first breath, you're going to roll your ankle in one direction. And on the second breath, you're going to roll your ankle in the other direction. Alright, so now we're going to start doing some splits. Just bear with me and do the best that you can. So you're going to take your right knee and tug it forward and have your left leg go straight back. Start slightly sideways and then roll forward so that your hips are square and your torso is straight up and down. You'll be stretching kind of your butt and also the top of your left leg. Then you're going to hold this position for 3 breaths. And now we're going to go into a split. So move back onto your left knee and have your right heel scooch forward as far as you can to where it's slightly uncomfortable. Once you're there, you're going to take a deep breath in, and when you breathe out, go a little bit lower down. And do this 2 more times where you breathe in and then lower down when you breathe out. And then after that, stop. You can really feel the stretch now and take a 4th breath just in this position. Alright, good job, guys. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, bend your left knee and put your right leg straight back behind you. Start slightly sideways and then roll forward so that your torso is straight up and down. And we're going to take, oh yes, you can stretch your butt and the top of your right legs. Yay! Take 3 breaths in this position. Okay, another split. Roll back onto your right knee and put your left heel forward. Scoot your left heel as far as it'll go to where it's slightly uncomfortable. And then you're going to take a breath in, and on the breath out, lower down slightly. Do this 2 more times, where when you breathe in, and then breathe out and lower down slightly. Then stop, and on the 4th breath, just stay there. Alright. And that's it for the lower body stretch. Great job, guys. You all worked really hard, and I'm very proud of you. Don't forget to stay hydrated, drink your water, and don't forget to cool down a little bit, loosen up, maybe shake out a little bit. It's always fun to shake out. I will see you tomorrow for our 3rd session, the core strengthening portion of the routine. And you're all wonderful. Have a great day.